no one saw this coming. Ty Borden, the man Heartland fans mourned for years, is back. But his return isn't a fairy tale reunion. It's a storm that threatens to shatter everything Amy has rebuilt. Lindy barely remembers the father she lost. Amy has spent years learning to live without him. And now, just as she's opening her heart again, he walks through that barn door. Why did he disappear? Why now? And what will this mean for Amy, Lindy, and the future they've fought so hard to hold on to? Amy stands frozen, her mind refusing to believe what her eyes are seeing. Ty Borden, the love of her life, the man she buried in her heart long ago, stands before her, alive. The moment stretches endlessly, the silence thick with emotions neither of them knows how to express. For years, Amy has carried the pain of his loss, raising Lindy alone, trying to find peace, even as a part of her heart always belonged to him. And now, here he is, standing right in front of her. Lindy clutches Amy's hand, her young eyes filled with confusion. Mommy, who is he? The question cuts Amy like a knife. How does she explain? How does she tell her daughter that this man, the one she's heard stories about, the one she's seen only in pictures, is her father? But before Amy can answer, Ty speaks, his voice raw with emotion. Lindy, I'm your dad. The weight of those words crashes over everyone. Jack, Lou, and Tim stand in stunned silence. No one moves. No one breathes. How can this be real? Jack's sharp eyes search Ty's face, looking for answers, looking for the truth. Where the hell have you been? His voice is steady, but there's a storm beneath it. And then it comes, the explanation no one was prepared for. Ty was never dead. He was taken, forced into a situation beyond his control. He tried to get back, tried to reach out, but it was impossible. The details remain vague, his voice breaking as he recalls the years of fighting to survive, of holding on to the hope that one day he'd see his family again. But Amy isn't ready to believe him. She can't. It's too much. Tears burn her eyes, but she refuses to let them fall. Do you have any idea what you put us through? Her voice shakes, a mix of anger, disbelief, and something even deeper, fear. Because if Ty is back, everything she's built, everything she's come to accept, is at risk of crumbling. And then there's Nathan. Nathan, who has been there for her, who has stepped into her life in ways she never expected. He's not just a friend anymore. He's been patient, understanding. He's been the man she turned to when the nights were too long, when the memories of Ty were too much. And now, Ty is here, alive, expecting to reclaim the life he lost. But where does that leave Nathan? Where does that leave Amy? Lindy, overwhelmed, runs into the house, tears streaming down her face. Amy wants to follow, to comfort her daughter, but she can't move. Her world is spinning, and she doesn't know how to stop it. Jack steps forward, his voice low but firm. You've got a lot to answer for, Ty. And you better start now. Ty looks at Amy, desperation in his eyes. Please, Amy, just give me a chance to explain everything. But can she? Can she open that door again? Or is it already too late? Amy turns away, her heart hammering in her chest. She needs air, space, anything to keep her from drowning in the flood of emotions Ty's return has unleashed. But there's no escaping this. No running from the past that has suddenly become her present. Jack, Lou, and Tim are watching Ty like he's a ghost, as if blinking too fast might make him disappear again. But Amy, she's not sure if she wants him to stay, or if it would hurt less if he left. Inside the house, Lindy sobs quietly in Katie's arms, confusion written all over her face. He's not my dad, she whispers. He can't be. And that's what shatters Amy the most. Ty was supposed to be here. He was supposed to watch Lindy grow, be there for every bedtime story, every scraped knee, every milestone. But instead, he was gone. And now, when she's finally stopped waking up expecting to see him beside her, he's back, as if time never moved forward. Nathan arrives, the tension in the air thickening the second he steps onto the ranch. His eyes land on Ty, instantly recognizing the man who, until now, had only existed in Amy's grief. Nathan knew Amy still loved Ty. He had always known, but he thought time, patience, and love would eventually let him take that place in her heart. And now, standing before the man Amy once vowed to spend forever with, Nathan realizes something terrifying. He might lose her before he ever truly had her. "Are you okay?" Nathan's voice is calm, but Amy hears the deeper question beneath it. "Do you still need me?" Amy swallows hard, her eyes flickering between Nathan and Ty. "I don't know," she whispers. And then it starts. Jack demanding answers, Lou questioning how any of this is possible, Tim pacing with barely contained anger. "You were dead, Ty," Lou says, her voice shaking. "We buried you in our hearts. And now you expect us to just accept this?" Ty doesn't flinch. He expected this reaction. "I didn't choose to leave. I was taken," he says again. But the words feel hollow. No matter what happened, the reality remains. He wasn't here when Amy needed him. Nathan clenches his jaw. He doesn't speak, but his presence says enough. He spent months, years, helping Amy move forward. He's been the one Lindy runs to when she falls, the one who stood beside Amy as she rebuilt her life. And now, in a single moment, Ty threatens to undo everything. Ty steps toward Amy, desperation in his eyes. "I need you to believe me." Amy takes a deep breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can, because loving Ty was easy when he was her everything. But now it feels like loving him might tear her apart all over again." The silence between Amy and Ty stretches, heavy with everything unsaid. She wants to believe him. She wants to fall into his arms and pretend the last few years never happened. But reality doesn't work that way. Too much has changed. She has changed. Ty sees the hesitation in her eyes, the pain layered beneath it. "Amy, I never stopped loving you," he says, his voice raw. "Every single day, I fought to get back to you, to Lindy." Amy flinches at the mention of Lindy's name, because no matter how much she has grieved for Ty, no matter how much she once longed for his return, she can't forget that he was the one who left their daughter behind. Even if it wasn't his choice, even if it wasn't his fault, he still missed the most important moments of their lives. And now, Lindy doesn't see him as her father. She sees him as a stranger. "I don't know how to do this, Ty," Amy whispers, looking away. "I don't even know who you are anymore." Ty's jaw tightens. He expected this, but it doesn't make it any easier. Before he can respond, a small voice cuts through the tension. "Mom?" Lindy stands a few feet away, her wide eyes bouncing between Amy and Ty. She's clutching one of the wooden horse figures Ty used to carve, one she's held onto since she was little. But now, she's holding it like it's something foreign, like it no longer belongs to her. Ty kneels down, his voice gentle. "Lindy, it's me. It's Dad." But Lindy doesn't move closer. She shifts uncomfortably, glancing up at Amy for reassurance. "I don't remember you." The words hit Ty harder than any punch could. Amy feels the heartbreak in his eyes, but she doesn't know how to fix this. Maybe she can't fix this. Because some wounds, even the deepest ones, don't heal just because you want them to. Nathan watches from the porch, his hands curled into fists at his sides. He's always known he wasn't Ty. He never tried to replace him, never tried to erase the love Amy had for him. But he was there. When Amy needed someone, he was the one she leaned on. And now, with Ty back, it feels like everything is slipping through his fingers. "Maybe you should go," Nathan finally says, stepping forward. Ty looks up, eyes flashing with frustration. "I'm not leaving." Nathan doesn't back down. "You already did." The words hang in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. Amy knows she needs to say something, to stop this from turning into a fight. But what can she say? She's torn between a love that shaped her past and a man who's been part of her present. Jack suddenly speaks, his voice steady but firm. "This isn't something we can solve overnight. Ty, you're family, but you don't just walk back in and expect everything to be the same." Ty nods slowly, understanding but still hurting. "I just need a chance." Amy exhales, her heart aching in ways she didn't know were possible. "I don't know if I can give you one." Because forgiveness isn't just about wanting to, it's about being ready. And Amy isn't sure if she ever will be. The days that follow Ty's return are anything but easy. The ranch, once Amy's safe haven, now feels like a battlefield of emotions. Love, anger, regret, and confusion tangled together in a storm she can't escape. Every time she looks at Ty, she sees the man she loved, the father of her child, the one person she once thought she couldn't live without. But she also sees a stranger, someone whose absence left scars deeper than even she realized. Lindy keeps her distance. She watches Ty from afar, but doesn't approach him. At times, it looks like she wants to, like she's trying to remember the father she was too young to know. But fear and uncertainty hold her back. Amy sees it in her eyes, and she feels it in her own heart too.
Ty, desperate to prove himself, tries to find his place again. He helps around the ranch, fixing fences, caring for the horses, doing everything he once did, hoping it will remind Amy of what they had. But it's not that simple. Love doesn't just pick up where it left off, not after this much time. Nathan watches everything unfold with a quiet intensity. He hasn't said much to Amy since Ty's return, but his presence is a constant weight pressing down on her. She knows what he's thinking, she knows what he's feeling, and she knows that in his eyes, she's slipping away. One evening, as the sun dips behind the hills, Nathan finds Amy in the barn, brushing Spartan. "You've barely spoken to me," Nathan says, his voice calm, but laced with something deeper. Amy keeps her focus on Spartan, but her hands tremble slightly against his coat. "I don't know what to say." Nathan exhales sharply. "Say that you don't love him anymore. Say that you've moved on. Say that I mean something to you." Amy closes her eyes. She wants to say those things, but can she? Nathan steps closer. "Amy, I've been patient. I've been here, waiting, never pushing. But now, he's back, and suddenly, I feel like I don't exist to you." Amy turns to face him, her emotions raw. "It's not that simple, Nathan." "Then make it simple," he pleads. "Tell me what you want." Amy shakes her head. "I don't know what I want." And that's the truth, because right now she's caught between a love that once defined her and a future she thought she had figured out. Meanwhile, Ty refuses to give up on Lindy. He watches her, waiting for a moment, any moment where she might let him in. And then, one night, it happens. Amy wakes up to the sound of laughter coming from the living room. She walks out to find Lindy sitting on the floor, holding one of Ty's old horse carvings in her hands. Ty sits across from her, a small knife and a new piece of wood in his hands. He's carving something just like he used to. Lindy watches, fascinated. "You used to make these for me?" Ty nods. "I did. And I can make you a new one if you want." Lindy hesitates, then nods slowly. "Okay." It's a small step, but for Ty, it's everything. Amy leans against the doorway, watching. For the first time since he came back, she sees a glimpse of the father he was meant to be. And it terrifies her. Because if Lindy lets him in, if she lets him in, what happens if he leaves again? What happens if she forgives him? And it breaks her all over again? Amy stands outside the barn, the cool night air wrapping around her as she tries to steady her thoughts. Ty is back. Lindy is slowly warming up to him, and Nathan is slipping away. She can feel it. And for the first time in a long time, she doesn't know where her heart truly belongs. She thinks about everything she and Ty went through, the love, the pain, the promises they made. But she also thinks about the years she spent without him, the nights she cried herself to sleep, the mornings she woke up determined to move forward, only to be reminded of the emptiness he left behind. And then there's Nathan, the man who's been by her side, who showed up when she needed someone, who never asked for anything but her happiness. She knows how much he loves her, how much he wants a future with her. But is that enough? The next morning, Amy walks to the round pen, where Ty is working with a young horse. She watches as he moves, his quiet confidence returning. It reminds her of the man she fell in love with. but she's not that same girl anymore, and she's not sure she ever will be again. Ty senses her presence and turns. You okay? Amy hesitates. I don't know. He leans against the fence. I know this isn't easy. I know I hurt you. He looks down, then back at her, his voice full of regret. But I never stopped loving you, Amy. Never. She swallows hard, the weight of his words settling deep inside her. You made a choice, Ty, she says softly. You left, and now you want to come back like nothing happened? Ty shakes his head. Number, I don't expect that, but I want a chance to make things right. Amy looks away, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. Lindy is starting to trust you. I see it, and that means everything to me. But I can't just forget the years you were gone. Ty steps closer. I don't want you to forget. I just want you to give me a chance to prove that I won't leave again. Amy's heart clenches. She wants to believe him. She wants to trust that he's here for good. But can she risk everything again? Before she can answer, Nathan approaches from behind. His face is unreadable, but there's something final in his eyes. I can't do this, Nathan says, his voice firm but calm. Amy turns to him, confused. Nathan. He shakes his head. I love you, Amy, but I can't stand here and watch you try to figure out if you still love him. He exhales, his hands clenched at his sides. I deserve someone who knows they want to be with me. Amy's chest tightens. She opens her mouth to speak, but no words come out. Nathan looks at Ty. You win. Then he turns and walks away. Amy watches him go, her heart aching. Is he right? Has she been holding on to something she should have let go of long ago? Or is she about to make the biggest mistake of her life? As the sun sets over Heartland, Amy stands between her past and her future, knowing that no matter what choice she makes, someone will get hurt. And for the first time in her life, she doesn't know if love is enough. The days after Nathan's departure feel heavier than Amy expected. The barn, the fields, even the house. Everything carries a weight she can't shake. She tries to focus on her work, on Lindy, on anything but the ache in her chest. But every time she looks toward the horizon, she wonders if she made the right choice, or if she's about to lose herself in the past. Ty has been patient. He doesn't push, doesn't demand answers. Instead, he focuses on what he knows best: horses, healing, and proving to Amy that he's here to stay. She watches him with Lindy, the way he takes his time, never forcing a connection, just letting it happen naturally. And Lindy, she's cautious, but Amy can see the way her daughter's eyes light up when Ty lifts her onto a horse, the way she giggles at his silly jokes. It's happening. Slowly, piece by piece, Ty is rebuilding what was lost. But Amy? She isn't sure she can do the same. Jack notices before anyone else. One evening, as Amy brushes Spartan down after a long ride, Jack leans against the stall door, arms crossed. You've been quiet, he says. Amy sighs, running her fingers through Spartan's mane. Just a lot on my mind. Jack nods, as if he already knows. You don't have to decide right now, you know. Amy looks up at him. But that's the problem, Grandpa. I don't know what to decide. Ty's back, Nathan's gone, and I feel like I'm standing in the middle of a storm with no way out. Jack studies her for a moment. Then he speaks, his voice steady and full of wisdom. When your dad left, your mom had a choice. She could have waited for him to come back, or she could have moved on. But she chose you. She chose this place, and she built a life worth living. Amy swallows, absorbing his words. Jack steps closer. I know you love Ty, but love isn't just about history, Amy. It's about where you are, now. About what you need, not what you think you're supposed to do. Amy exhales, her heart pounding. She knows Jack is right. She spent so much time trying to figure out if she should forgive Ty. She never stopped to ask herself if she truly wants to. That night, Amy stands on the porch, staring at the stars. Ty joins her, hands in his pockets, the distance between them filled with unsaid words. I know this isn't easy, Ty says softly. Amy glances at him. No, it's not. He hesitates. Do you still love me? Amy's throat tightens. The answer should be simple, but it isn't. She looks away, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know. Silence stretches between them, thick with unspoken emotions. Ty nods, his expression unreadable. I can't force you to love me again, he finally says, but I can prove to you that I'm not the same man who left. Amy meets his gaze, searching for the truth in his eyes. Then prove it, she says, her voice steady. Ty holds her gaze for a long moment before nodding. I will. As he walks away, Amy feels the weight on her chest shift, just slightly, because for the first time in a long time, she isn't looking to the past. She's waiting to see what the future might bring. Amy wakes before dawn, the first light creeping over the distant hills, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold. She lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, her heart heavy with thoughts she can't escape. Everything has changed since Ty came back. Every decision she thought she had made, every step she thought she was taking forward, it all feels uncertain now. Her mind drifts to Lindy, the way she watches her father, the hesitation in her little eyes. She had spent years growing up without him, learning to rely on Amy, Jack, and the rest of the family. Now Ty is here, trying to step back into the role of a father, and Amy can't tell if she's the one struggling to adjust more than Lindy. She throws off the covers and gets up, knowing sleep won't come back to her. The house is quiet, the kind of silence that feels too loud. As she moves through the kitchen, she notices a small drawing on the fridge, Lindy's work. It's a picture of 3 people standing together, holding hands. When Amy finally walks back toward the house, Ty is still there, waiting. He doesn't ask what was said. He doesn't push. He just looks at her, searching for something in her eyes. And this time, she doesn't look away. Because the truth is, she's tired of running, tired of fighting against what her heart already knows. Maybe it won't be easy. Maybe it will take time. But as she stands there, looking at the man who has always been a part of her, she realizes that some love stories don't have endings. They just have new beginnings. And maybe, just maybe, this is theirs. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe our channel for more updates.